So the rules of replacement for 7.4 work the same way as 7.3. What is on one side of the double colon can be replaced with the other one. It is written this way, but it also works that way. Transposition is a relatively important rule. You should mark it off on your list, kind of a big deal. This says, if P then Q is the same as, if no Q then no P. Think about our truth tables, let's say, or even modus tollens. Remember, modus tollens says, if P then Q, and then the next line was not Q, and therefore not P. So if you know that if P then Q is true, if you don't have Q, you don't have P. Remember back to your chapter 6 when you were doing the truth tables, say, for all these different statements. As long as, if P, this statement is only false when P is true and Q is false. So if this is going to be true and Q is false, P is going to have to be false as well. Remember, it works both ways. Implication, big deal. Just like De Morgan's, because it allows you to go from an if-then statement to an or statement. So it allows you to change it to get it into the form that works best given whatever it is you need it to do in the proof. What this says is, if P then Q is the same as not P or yes Q. Remember back to your truth tables for if-then statements. When the first part of it was false, we considered the whole statement true. But if the first part was true, the second part had to be true to make this statement true. So either you don't have P, or if you do, in this statement, if you do have P, and this part's false, then you have to have Q. If you have P, you have to have Q. And again, it works both ways. Notice that the only difference between these, we changed if then to or, but there's a negative. And yes, you could do it both ways. If this were P then Q, then you could do it like that, right? Because it's just the opposite of each other. Okay, material equivalence. Pay close attention. You actually don't use this rule very often, but it is the only rule that we have that includes the if and only if. Anytime you see if and only if, you pretty much have to do this. We don't have any other rules that let us deal with if and only ifs. So if you're using an if and only if in your proof, if it's in one of the lines, do equivalence on it. Whether you're going to do it with two if-thens or a disjunct of two ands, I don't really know. I mean, that's going to depend. You can do either one. They're both fair. So you're going to have to use the one that works for you in the proof that you're doing. What this says, you remember for if and only if, this statement is true as long as P and Q have the same truth value, right? They could both be true or both be false, and that would still make the sentence true. That's what we have down here at the bottom. They have to both be true or both be false. No problem there. Also, you may recall, I don't know if you remember this or not, but when it comes to if and only if, it says if you have P, then you have Q, and vice versa. If you have Q, then you have P. Why do we need this rule? Well, I mean, we just do. But there's two reasons. One is, if we can change this to an and, then we can simplify out one side, on the front side, because we have to use commutativity to switch it around. We can simplify this out and maybe set up a modus ponens or a modus tollens if we had this by itself. Same thing here, down here with this or business. Maybe we can use that to set up disjunctive syllogism, and then we can conclude one of these sides. And then, of course, because they're ands, we can simplify out one of those terms. So it's a pretty useful rule. Exportation, a little bit tricky. It's not just a matter of moving the parentheses like we had before with associativity. Instead, what we have here, I mean, just think about what it says. First one says, if you have both P and Q, then you have R. So, if you have P, then if you have Q, you'll have R. Makes sense, right? Because this says if you have them both, then you'll have this other one. So if you have one, well, then if you have the next one, you'll have R. And again, it works both ways, which is nice because we might want to go from a statement like this to this. Maybe set up a little modus ponens, a little modus tollens, something like that. Chances are good we would do something like a modus tollens. We'll say not P and Q, then by De Morgan's, right? We can change that to something else. In any case, most of these rules are used to set up another rule. The point here is that you have to have a statement that looks like one of these. there's got to be a parenthesis there. When you do, just start checking your rules. See if there's a rule you can apply. If you apply a rule correctly, even if you didn't need it, it's not wrong and it's useful. Finally then, tautology, maybe the least useful of all the rules. Commutativity is kind of dumb, double negation is pretty bad, but tautology just says P is the same as P or P. Or if you'd like, P is the same as P and P. Who cares? Really nobody, except occasionally you might wind up with a proof where your last line, because of a series of different rules, you might wind up with a statement that says P or P or P and P. And you need your conclusion to just be P. You could simplify right from here, not from here. But you could simplify out of P, or you could just say by the rule of tautology. Tautology means it's true by definition. If P is true, then P and P is true, right? If P says it's raining, then it's raining and it's raining. Or if you'd rather, if it's raining, then either it's raining or it's raining. Again, not terribly exciting, but it is a rule that you may occasionally need just to simplify out a term to finish off your proof. That's how these rules work. Remember, each of them, they're not combinations of two lines of a proof. It's taking a single line in a proof and saying it in a different way that is helpful to you in constructing the rest of your proof. And they all work both ways. This takes plenty of practice. There is no quick way through it, and there is no magic bullet, but don't feel bad. No one is born knowing this. We all have to learn it, and everybody who learns it has to struggle through it. So now it's your turn. You get to struggle through it too. Any questions, of course, email me, shoot me a video, that'd be pretty cool, or just, hold on and hope for the best.